This is the 3D Nano-Banana moment we have all been waiting for. Rodin Gen2 just introduced its new, stunning editing feature for 3D AI models, and it marks a huge step forward in AI 3D generation. I will show you in today's video exactly how you can use the new editing feature to change, add and remove parts from our generated 3D models to have more control than ever before. Hey guys, my name is Philipp from Pixel Artistry, and as always, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm really excited to show you Rodin's new 3D editing feature, which basically allows you to adjust your 3D characters after you have generated them without the need to go, for example, into Blender or any other 3D software to fix any potential issues. And today's video is, by the way, kindly sponsored by Rodin, so big thanks to them for supporting the channel. Let's directly look at it, how you can use Rodin Gen2 Edit to first generate your model with an image and then afterwards directly edit your 3D model with the new 3D editing mode. So what we need to basically do is, of course, to go to hyper3d.ai, which is the page which hosts Rodin Gen2, and here you just need to create an account, and once you're here you will see that we have here a field called image to 3D, and we will directly upload our character here, loading this kind of Pixar style character that I have over here. And once I have that, you can, for example, as well here generate multi-views, but for now we will stick with a single image. So once you have that, only thing you need to do is then hit here generate to generate your character, and this is then the result we get after generating our 3D model. And as you can see, it already looks quite solid, but now we would like, of course, to use the modify feature, and to do that is you simply have to go here and then navigate here to modify. And once we are here, you can see that we have a bounding box, and I did that already by targeting his nose, for example, so that we can do this. You can drag around the box by just selecting it, and then you can see that you can extend its edges, for example. You can make the box larger or smaller, and just make sure that you only select the area you really would like to change, so that we keep the model result consistent, you know, and just change the result that we would like to change. And you will see over here that you have an add, remove and change option over here, and just make sure that we're using here the change, because we would like to change his nose size and don't want to remove or add anything. So just make sure that you prompt something like make his nose smaller, something like this, and then we can generate here our result. And once we do that, you can see that we then have a pending window over here, and it will then generate for us an image preview, and this one we can then use to see what we get afterwards. So we can hit right click and then open image and tab, and as you can see, this is then the preview that we get with a smaller nose. And what you can do then is just hitting confirm, and then it will start a generation for us. Alright, and once the generation finished, as you can see, this is the change we get. We now have a smaller nose with a different shape than before, while the other details of our models simply stay the same. So this is really cool, you know, and you can use this as your kind of Nano-Banana for 3D generation, which is, I think, is cool and is definitely a step in the right direction. The same thing we could do now, by the way, is for his hair by combining two editing features. I will show you quickly what I mean. So what I will do is I'm going back to our modify option, and we can first, for example, remove his hair now in case we don't like it, and once removed we can then add a new hairstyle. So I will do this quickly just as a demonstration how this is working. So let's shift our box over here, that we then have it like this, that it's affecting the hairstyle. Here also make sure to not affect too much of the other stuff, because one current limitation is still that it might remove some details from your existing mesh. So maybe something like this could work. So let's see what we get then by simply first removing it. So we say remove hair, then we can generate, and then it should remove all the hair we have on the head of him right now. And here we then have our image preview, and as you can see, it removed most of his hair. So let's confirm this, and then it will start to generate again our new model. And once we drew our area, as you can see, it removed here the hair properly. And what we can do now again is that we go then again to modify, and as you can see, I ended up using one box shape kind of, and this one we can now use as well to add our new haircut. So I can quickly go to add and then say add new detailed haircut, and then say generate, and let's see what we get. And I think, as you can see, this looks quite good and is detailed as well. So I will hit confirm, and then we can have a look in a second how it looks. Okay, great. And once done, you can see this is then the new haircut that we get. It won't be always perfect, so you can always click here on redo modify. I also had to do this now up to a few times until I got this result here, just to be transparent. But you can use then, as you can see here, freely, and only the confirmation will cost you credits. So I think this is great. And once we are then happy, we could then click here on confirm. You could also use here then the new smart low poly feature that Rodin Gen2 added, which is new and great. And you could use this one, or you could choose here the quad mesh confirm, and then you could create a material, like texture it, and then directly export it. By the way, you can also always go back in history. So what you can do is just click here on the right, and as you can see, I created here multiple versions. So we could also go back to version 1, what we had, and you can then directly see the changes we have here while everything remained consistent. By the way, just some small and helpful tips when you test out the 3D editing feature yourself. Try to avoid like very small selections or extremely detailed regions, because for now the tool is more for broader shapes. For best editing results, make always sure to select a local area rather than the entire model. And when selecting, make sure to also include connected areas. So for example, that you get then smoother transitions overall, and that it doesn't feel like cut out or something like this, like we did it now with the hair. I think the editing process is overall really fun, and you can create with the new mode even different variations. So for example, you can brainstorm new character ideas directly in 3D. And I did this here, for example, where we have then from our character that we just generated like different variations. For example, here we have a different haircut. He's here wearing like a sweater, a hoodie instead of his jacket. Or for example, here we have then also a new haircut. But as you can see here, you have to be careful that you don't select the eyes like I did this here in this example, because then we lose some details. But I think this will be also fixed soon. I tested this, by the way, also on a hard surface object, for example, on this car model that you can see here. And what I did here is as well that I went into the modify mode. Then I selected the area here on top that we have. I changed it here to remove option and just said like remove top part, and then I hit generate, and this is what I got then. So it's really good as well to remove just like very specific features on your 3D model, or something that you would like to fix overall on your 3D model without the need to regenerate. I tested the new editing feature, by the way, on a bunch of different models, and it comes of course also still with some limitations, so that you don't get like unrealistic expectations about it or something. So it sometimes still feels a bit random what output you get in the end, and you have to retry a few times. So just make sure that you did that what I basically just explained. It's currently not possible to edit like very small details on your character or objects, and the quality of the generated edited mesh is sometimes not as detailed as your original model. So just keep that in mind while using the new tool. But apart from that, I wanted to show you now as well how you can import and edit like an external 3D mesh. Because in case you would like to use, for example, another 3D AR generator like locally Trellis 2, or you would like to use Nano-Banana 3D or something like this, you can also use this and then use still the new edit feature by Rodin. So what we can do is that we go here to the 3D editing option over here, just click on it, and you will see then over here that it supports OBJ, FBX and GLB files. And what I can do then is just hit here on the plus sign. So for example, I generated here this Batman head directly in Nano-Banana 3D, and now to import it into Rodin, what I need to do is just hitting here on the format. We can download it here as a GLB file. So we do this quickly, and then once I'm here, we can then just click on the plus sign over here, and then I will see over here my downloaded model from Nano-Banana 3D. I will then click on this one, and as you can see, we then have it here in front view. You can do this of course also with 3D models that you modeled yourself, for example in Blender, and gave it UVs there, so you can also re-edit like existing model that you did by hand. So once we have that, I will then make sure this is my front view that I have selected here. Then I click on generate, and then it will load it directly into the main interface. Once uploaded, I will then go again into the modify tab, and for example, let's say I would like to refine his eyes. Just an example, of course, you could also change other parts as well, but let's say for example we would like to have them a bit more refined, or at least changed a bit in case we don't like the eye shape that we have right now. So I will make sure to draw the bounding box again here, like we have it, something like that. And then what I will do is just say here, refine his eyes, and then we can go to generate. And as you can see, we get then, when I compare it with the old version, as you can see, we get then here adjusted eyes, or at least a different eye shape. Of course, we could then regenerate and, you know, modify them as much as we want, but I think you got it now what what it can kind of do. So I think this is great. Just to show you as a very last thing is how you can now import it into Blender by doing all the steps. By the way, you could also say here bang to parts, which will basically then split your model into parts, which is also great. But for now, we could confirm it. For example, I would say here maybe a quad mesh size of 18,000. Or you know what, let's go for the smart low poly just to show you this as well. And we can then go in here, say type quads, and maybe let's say for the density that it should be high because it's quite detailed. Then I will say confirm, and this will take then a while because it needs some time to readapt on this, that it gets a good topology. So I will show you this in a second how it looks like that. And once it's done and we have it then here low poly style, what we can do now is generate our material. And to do that, I will go here to remix gen, then just make sure that I remove a second image here with the actual texture so that we actually get the correct texture for it, like this. And then I will generate to see what we get then. And then as you can see, our texture will then be applied to our model. So I will click here append, and then once I have that here, I will then just hit generate. And then you can see that it can also enhance facial details. So let's do that by enabling it. And then we will wait until the material gets applied. And then once done, as you can see, our texture got applied here to our low poly model. Then I can hit here confirm. And then next thing what we can do is either download it as an OBJ file or as a GLB. So I will do this quickly as a GLB that we can then directly import him into Blender with the materials attached. So I will hit here 4K, and I'm going to download. And then once in Blender, you just need to download the zip file that is there, extract it, and then we can go to File, Import, GLB. And then what I will do is just simply paste in the path over here, and you will see that we have a base high PBR and one shaded. So I will import both really quick. And then as you can see, we have then our final low poly model over here. You can see that this one is shaded then already when I go to the shaded view over here. So this is great, and we can also have a look then at the topology, for example, by going in here and then enabling the topology. And as you can see, this is then our low poly model that we created from Rodin itself, which I think works great overall. And we can see that we have on the PBR model over here, where we have even more detail. We then have as well here our base color, as well as the metallic roughness map and our normal map, which I think is cool. So I really hope you have enjoyed this video. In case you have liked the video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel and to make sure to use the free trial code PAR on PARodinEdit to get a 14-day free trial. Having said that, see you on the next one.